And remember, like before, what I did is I put all of the lessons onto our website. So if you want to review or if you want to check again after the class, you can always go to our website and take a look, okay? And I know, what, was it a week ago? We talked about another Olympic person. You remember?
The
Uh,
Singapore.
Yeah, we talked about the Singaporean table tennis, the
Yeah.
Singaporean table tennis player, right?
Yeah. She
So
didn't get a medal, but she was in the fourth place.
yeah, yeah, good. She didn't get a medal. Yeah, fourth place is so sad, right?
Mhm.
Fourth place, where you're so close. You're so close. So today we're going to talk about somebody who did win a medal. This is MyKayla, and you can see I have her medal right here. See it?
Yeah, silver.
Yeah, she got a silver medal.
silver medal.
Yeah, silver medal. So we have gold, silver, bronze when we compete in the Olympics. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a short video about MyKayla's experience. So MyKayla is the woman on the left. On the right is another very famous gymnast. Do you know the name of the woman on the right side?
No.
I only
No?
know she was retired before Olympic Games.
So yeah,
Retail?
no, well, not retire, but she decided not to compete.
Yeah.
She decided not to compete in the
Not
Olympic
to
Games
attend
because
the Olympic. Yeah, right.
yeah, she still attended, she still competed a little bit, but she was under a lot of pressure, and that caused her to decide to stop competing, right? Yeah, her name is Simone. She's another very interesting athlete. You'll see her name, Simone Biles, come up. But I'm going to talk to you about the girl in the pink leotard, the pink dance outfit, called MyKayla. And I'm very lucky because MyKayla did an interview with People Magazine. Have you heard of People Magazine before?
Yeah.
It's called People Magazine.
Big magazine.
Yeah,
Pick
People
up.
Magazine.
Is it popular?
It's about
Eh.
people. So it's about usually about famous people. There's a lot of celebrity news, things like that in People Magazine. But yeah, but right now, what I'm going to do is for everybody, I'm going to mute everybody except me. So only I'll talk. And I'm going to show you the video. Then I'm going to show you the script. We'll watch the video. Then we'll listen and read the script. And then we'll talk about some of the vocabulary, okay?
Okay.
Similar to last time. So yeah, so right now, I'm gonna, I'm gonna mute everybody. And don't worry, I'll let you unmute after the lesson is over. But yeah, for you guys, also for our YouTube viewers, if you do want to tell me something, you can use the chat box, you can comment and let me know. But I think it should be okay. So right now, let's play this video. I hope you guys can hear it okay. Like this.
I actually kind of thought I wouldn't
Oh,
be
you can
as
hear?
nervous as Olympic
Yeah.
trials, but
Yeah, and I guess actually this one you can also read. There's also subtitles. So yeah, so listen and give it a first listen. Ready?
I actually kind of thought I wouldn't be as nervous as Olympic trials, but the second we got out there, I was like, I'm gonna throw up. I'm like so sick to my stomach right now. This is horrible because, you know, like obviously Olympic trials, it was, you know, getting to this point and trying to make the team. But then it's like, okay, well now I'm at the Olympics, and so like I really got to do good now. But just to be able to compete at the Olympic Games and to, you know, hit 4 events and do the best that I did was something that will last for me forever, and it'll just be, you know, cool to be able to tell my kids one day that I went to the Olympics. Not having people in the stands was, you know, kind of a bummer. We had podium training before, so we kind of got used to it a little bit, and we were kind of like, oh, that wasn't bad, you know, it kind of just feels like training. But then when like the meet started, it was kind of like, oh, we really need that to like get our adrenaline and to get pumped up, you know, because that's what, you know, kind of gets us going. And I'm glad that I was able to, you know, calm myself down and just go out there and hit, you know, 2 really good routines, especially on beam. I feel like that was just an amazing routine to, you know, end the Olympic night on. I was last up on beam, so, you know, everybody was done with the events, and I was like, man, I still have to go, so everyone's gonna be watching. I was like, oh no, this has to be good. So I feel like I handled the pressure pretty good, and yeah, it was seriously so cool. After finishing that beam routine, during qualifications. It was seriously, I was a little bit teary-eyed, but obviously, not as, not as emotional as I feel like as Olympic trials on vault. I feel like that was just a moment that was just so intense, and I was like, this is either gonna make it or break it for me. But all the girls ran up and they were just so excited, because even though I'm not a part of, the four-man team, the girls have all included me in everything and have just been super supportive. So it was really cool to be like, you finished strong, you did it, and that's all that matters, and you're still part of this team no matter what. So it was a so special night, and I wish I could relive it again. I feel like it almost didn't even happen. I'm like, wait, we competed already? So I feel like it was kind of like in the blink of an eye. I feel like Simone and I, were the OGs of the team. So, so I feel like, we've kind of always been that role model to them, especially with both of us coming back into the elite scene. It's been really fun to me to because I've gone to so many meets, I've had all the experience, so I feel like I know kind of, what it takes. It's been really cool to, see the girls on the team come up to me, ask for questions, and then, Tom's always asking Simone and I to give advice, or just during workout, just trying to keep an uplifting, positive attitude and mindset, because it's really hard when we're gone, for 3 weeks away from home, and this training's brutal, and we're super stressed and all the anxiety. So I think it's really good to just, try to remember, if we weren't good enough, we wouldn't be here. So just do what we've been doing in the gym and just always be happy. I feel like you just got to enjoy this experience, So it's been really cool to be that role model to them and kind of be that mom, grandma figure. There's a lot of pressure being an Olympic athlete, and, just being out there, it was definitely a different kind of pressure. Even though I've gone to Worlds and have all the experience that I've done, it was seriously it was hard. I don't know if I can do my routine right now. Do I even know what I'm doing? And I just felt like I just got to trust it. I got to be calm. But it's the Olympics, so anybody wants to go out and do their best, so it's definitely a different kind of pressure. Nobody's perfect, but I got through it, and I feel like I did really good. So pat on the shoulder for that. That was good. As a lot of people have seen on my YouTube channel, that's a big reason why I wanted to start it, was because a lot of people don't get to see the behind the scenes of, what we go through and what it's like. We aren't perfect people, and everyone, on social media is like, they're so perfect, they have their life together, gymnastics looks so easy, but it's we work our butts off to get to where we are, it's blood, sweat, and tears every single day. So, you can't be perfect. You do one little thing wrong, no matter how many times you train it, on the beam, you go a little bit crooked or take off wrong and you're off. So, I think it's okay to not be perfect. Look at me this year. After everything I've been through, even going to classics and championships, I had mistakes. We were kind of all over the place trying to figure ourselves out again. But I feel like sometimes having to fail is what makes us stronger. I'm so excited for the next chapter in my life. I've always felt like there's more to gymnastics. So whatever happens at this point, whether I make the Olympics or didn't, I was at least I tried, gave it one last shot. So for me, kind of heading back home here, I'm moving to Utah, so I gotta go home and start packing up, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. Then I have to finish my last year of school, so I'm almost done with that, but I am doing communications and journalism to do sports broadcasting, so I would kind of love to go into that kind of stuff, but I also kind of want to enjoy life for a little bit and vacation, and kind of just enjoy it for once, because I feel like I haven't really gotten to do that. I feel like anytime I have a vacation, I'm stressed, or I'm I gotta go back in the gym, I'm gonna miss, so much time that I need to be working on improving. So for me, I'm just really excited to have a life and then maybe start a family. There's obviously a lot of opportunities, I think, that are gonna be opening up now, which is super cool. So we'll just kind of see where life takes me.
Okay, so that is MyKayla. I know that actually that one's a little bit long, it's about 5 minutes, so I don't think we'll listen again. I just want to talk about some of the main details she went through in her story. So if you do want to read, right, for anybody who's watching, I always keep the script for these kinds of videos. I'll keep it down here. And the main thing I want to focus on are some of these key phrases, right, which I usually put in bold within the script. So there are some really interesting phrases, maybe some new vocabulary that we can go through. And then, of course, you can read the whole thing, right? Read along. You guys can also later listen to it as you go. But I think I'm actually going to go right to our vocab for today, which are down here. So we'll start with the first one. if you feel like you're going to throw up, or if you're sick to your stomach. I think all of you know what that feels like. This doesn't only happen when we are sick, right? You can feel sick to your stomach for other reasons as well. For her, she was so nervous that her stomach hurt. Maybe you felt like this before a test, before an exam, your first day of English class. Do you remember? Was it scary? Yeah, maybe a little bit scary, but that's the feeling. You feel sick to your stomach. We also can use it to show your nerves. And of course, for MyKayla, she's competing in the Olympics. This is a very scary time for her, right? You're very worried about doing your best. You want to make sure you make it to the podium, right? So whenever we say podium for business, sometimes we use a podium when we're giving a speech. It's this raised platform we put our speech on when we give a presentation. That's a podium also. But for the Olympics, the podium's this thing we stand on, right? So it says a small raised area, looks like this. Or again, for speaking, you can have a podium for when you give a speech. These are the three people on the podium. I think this was from maybe the Winter Olympics. It looks like ice skating. Actually, Japan has some very famous ice skaters. So that might be our famous Japanese ice skaters. But they're on the podium. So if you go to the Olympics, Amy or Mike or Ella, if you go to the Olympics, you'll stand on the podium. If you win, you get to go on the podium. Okay, next one. Whenever you're competing with anything, you might feel some adrenaline. Okay, so the adrenaline is like this woman. You see her? Maybe you've gone bungee jumping before. No, maybe not bungee jumping. What is this? Skydiving. Maybe you've gone skydiving before. It's very, very exciting. Your heart is going to be beating very, 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 very quickly. So that's an adrenaline rush. I often also use this phrase. If you get an adrenaline rush, your body gets very excited because it's a dangerous situation or it's a high pressure situation. You're usually going to go into fight or flight mode, which means you're either ready to run away or you're ready to fight. We call it fight or flight mode. So again, your body's getting ready for battle, getting ready to fight. So we call it an adrenaline rush. Okay. She also used some very specific words from gymnastics. So this is called the beam. This is called the balance beam in gymnastics. I think this one's one of the most difficult events at the Olympics, because you have to perform your routine, right? Gymnasts call it a routine. The routine's the set of steps they have to do. They might do a flip, then a jump, and then they do a spin. That's their routine. So they're doing their routine on this balance beam. And of course, if they fall off or if they lose their balance, they're going to lose points on this balance beam. Next, our vault. This is one of the most exciting ones. If you ever watch the Olympics, there's an event called the vault where they run really, really fast. They sprint toward this mat. They jump and then they try to do a flip. They'll propel, I say they propel themselves into the air. They push themselves into the air to do their spin routine in the air, okay? So she was doing that as well for gymnastics. Sometimes we'll call these moments in our lives make or break it moments. And these are the moments in your life that are very important because it means either you're going to fail or succeed completely, right? If you want to move to Singapore, you have to get a visa. So that's that'll definitely be a make or break moment. Can I get my visa, right? For athletes, these athletes only have one chance most of the time, right? Can they have a repeat if they make a mistake? Oh no, I made a mistake. Can I do it again? No, they can't do it again. So it's make or break. That's make it or break it. It's a make or break moment. Your one chance to do something. Either you succeed or fail. No redo, no retry. All right. Meets. This one's also one of my favorite. We use this word. I was a swimmer in high school, and I would always go to swim meets. This is where my team from my high school met with a team from a different high school to compete. I would compete with the different high schoolers. Maybe I'm the guy in the middle dancing, right? This guy in the middle dancing, he is from maybe the school wearing green. They're competing against the school wearing red, right? So that's a track meet, right? You could have swim meet, track meet, volleyball meet, any of those, right? Where you meet up with a different school or university and have a competition, okay? The other thing maybe you saw in this video is she gave herself a pat on the shoulder. Yeah, you see people do that? I saw Ella doing it right now. Or you give somebody a pat on the shoulder, or we say a pat on the back. You might, yeah, if you do this, you pat your friend on the back, you're saying, good job. I approve, right? I approve what you did. I'm proud of you. I think you did a good job. This woman's giving herself a pat on the shoulder. So she's like, oh, I did a good job. Good job, me. Good job, me. So that's when you give somebody a pat on the shoulder. Job well done. All right. Then next, okay, we got a couple more, last 2 or 3. I love this phrase too. If you work your butt off. Work your butt off. Or this woman, of course, she says, I'm going to work my ass off. Ass. So of course your ass is your butt as well. It's just the less polite way to say butt. You could say my ass. I'm going to work my ass off. That means you're working extremely hard at something. Yeah, for you guys, maybe for English, when you study English, are you working your ass off? Are you studying for 4 hours every day, always doing homework? You're working your ass off. You're working extremely hard, very, very hard at this, this activity because you want to succeed, you want to improve your English, right? So you work your ass off, okay? For athletes at the Olympics, of course they have to work their ass off. Olympic gymnasts train for 6 to 8 hours every day. Same for the swimmers. They're practicing all day, every day to get ready for these athletic events, all right? Next one, very similar. If I say blood, sweat, and tears, blood, sweat, and tears, we know blood, right? Blood, we have blood, your sweat, like this, and your tears, right? So maybe you can guess what this means. If you put in your blood, sweat, and tears, you're putting in a ton of effort, a lot of effort and hard work to get something done, right? Maybe you want to start your own company. If you start your own company, you have to put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. You have to work late. You have to work every day. Maybe you cry because it's very stressful, right? You're putting in blood, sweat, and tears, right? Often we say it took blood, sweat, and tears. It took blood, sweat, and tears for me to get used to my new life. I don't know. It took a lot of effort to get used to my new life in Singapore. All right. Okay. And okay, one more. Here's my last one. If I say I'm going to give it one last shot. One last shot. This is your final chance. Okay. Your final chance to do something. We often hear this with athletes who are getting older. When you're an athlete, it's unfair, but if you get older, it's usually more difficult to compete. If you're an athlete that's 22 years old, it's much easier for you to win the event than if you're 35 years old, right? The best runners, best swimmers, best cyclists, the best athletes, best gymnasts are usually younger. So when an athlete's maybe 28, 30 years old, they know the next Olympics is in 4 years. This is their final chance, their last shot at being able to win a medal, right? Their last shot at winning a medal. I'm living in Singapore right now, you guys know. I think this may have been what's his name? Joseph Schooling. This may have been Joseph Schooling's last chance, his last shot at getting a medal. I don't know if Joseph Schooling, the Singaporean swimmer, will swim again in 4 years. He might, but this may have been his last shot, his final chance, okay? So that's the feeling. So now for you guys, I'm going to soon switch us over to our Zoom chat. And anyone who's watching on YouTube, if you go to Teachers Mark and Matt, .com, you can actually join us like Amy, Mike, and Ella have. You can join us for these lessons. We do a private Zoom lesson after each class, And for our private Zoom lesson today, I have our list of 6 questions. So for Mike, Amy, and Ella, you guys, if you do have your email, or if you can just see for right now, we have these 6 questions you're going to ask with your partner or with your group once we move to the Zoom session. First question is going to be about a high pressure situation. This means a situation where it was very stressful for you. Again, our job interview, speaking in front of the class for the first time, playing a sport and competing against your rival, the other school where you have to compete. You need to do your best, right? So how did you feel? What happened? Next, you can think of any make or break moments in your life, right? Where you have only one chance. If you don't get it this time, it's not going to be possible for you. Like for me, I applied to get a job as a teacher in Japan when I was 23 years old. I applied to get a job in Japan. I think that was a make or break moment in my life, because if I hadn't gotten that job in Japan, I wouldn't have moved to Singapore. I wouldn't have moved to Japan. It would have changed my life completely. And I only really had one chance, because I think I would have chosen a different job if I hadn't gotten my job in Japan in 2013. So that was a make or break moment in my life, right? Where I had one shot to get that job and I got it, okay? Okay, and you guys can think, if it went well, like mine, you can talk about that feeling of being successful. Sometimes we have a make or break moment and things go very, very poorly, where we fail, right? You can also talk about that. Next one, remember we said adrenaline rush, that exciting moment, you can talk about that. Oh, I forgot about bummer. Anybody know bummer? You guys know bummer? If I say that was a real bummer, a bummer is a disappointment or something where it's not as good as you expected. MyKayla was talking about how whenever she was at the Olympics, there were no people in the audience. If you watched the Olympics, there were no people in the stands, no audience for the Olympic Games. So that was a real bummer. Athletes love to be able to hear their fans cheering for them, but there were no fans. She was disappointed. So you could talk about a time you were disappointed. Okay, and then our last ones here. Remember my work your butt off, blood, sweat, and tears. Again, about your life. Next one, athletically, competed athletically. I want to know if you guys were athletes. I feel like maybe Mike, you were an athlete, or Amy or Ella. Maybe you were an athlete when you were in high school. You could talk about that. And I know Mike, I think Mike has a daughter. Yeah, Mike has a daughter. I want to know, is it important for children to join sports? Just like MyKayla, or just like these other athletes, is it good for Matt's daughter to join a sports team? If you have children, or Amy, I know you just recently had a child. Is it important for your child to join a sport when they're older? Should they play baseball, football, do gymnastics? Okay, so that's style. And last question we'll talk about is resilient. If you're resilient, it means you don't give up. So I want you to also think about, maybe you have a moment in your life when you didn't give up. All right. So good. So there's our list, guys. Now I'm going to say goodbye to the YouTube people. So YouTubers, if you're watching this on YouTube, please comment. You can comment in the video with some of your answers. I'd love to hear your answers. I'll definitely reply if you comment on the YouTube channel. And you can tell me your adrenaline rush, your bummer, working your butt off. But other than that, I'll see you YouTube guys later, and our Zoom group. Let's get to